Times best-selling author and speaker, and this is why you should not ever even log on or watch The Reverend and the Reprobate.
So I actually wanted to find out what you think about the Democratic Party at the moment, because it seems like right now they're going through an existential crisis of are they going down the socialist road or not?
I don't think they're going down socialist road. I think many of them are centrists, are moderates. There's no question that their platform is leaning way left, and I would even say, as a Christian, immoral. And that's why a lot of folks, there are a lot of evangelicals who are fairly moderate, but they just can't step on the Democratic platform, so to speak, because of where it stands on abortion and gays and all kinds of other things. Whereas they really would agree with maybe some kind of national health care process. And they see that the Democrats often leave the economy in great shape, and they think the poor ought to be helped by the state and things like that. But it's the morality issues that keep them off of that platform. So I don't think the Democratic Party is just completely going down the Marxist road. I do think there's a danger that some of the loudest and most media-friendly voices are trying to take it socialist and left-leaning, but they're not getting very far. People put up with Bernie Sanders because he's the dotty uncle who's making a lot of noise at the Thanksgiving meal. But he hasn't pulled a large vote. He hasn't been a serious threat. AOC, the same thing. She's pretty and she's on Vogue magazine and so on. But, her broadcasts from her dorm room aren't gaining a lot of traction. So I'm not too concerned about the squad. I'm not too concerned about the leftists. I'll tell you, frankly, there's a game in politics. Anchor yourself way out on the fringe, and maybe you can pull things a little bit your way. Some of these people anchor themselves on the socialist extreme because they just want to make a few inches of progress, and they find that anchoring themselves on the extreme gives them that leverage to pull the party to the left. So Joe Biden's a centrist. His vice president, Kamala Harris, is much further to the left than he is, and is dangerous, I think, on the issue of religion and abortion. But I don't think he's going to be pulled way left. I think the future of the Democratic Party is in danger of going far left, but I don't think during this administration.
I've got a quick question for you about, and we'll be wrapping up our time because we want to be respectful. We know you have other things you got to get to this evening. With the way that, especially in the far extremes on the left and the right, one of the things that I have noticed is sort of pulling people towards the middle with people that were in the late 90s and the early 2000s, classic liberals, speaking specifically of the three people that did Cynical Theories with Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay and Helen Pluckrose, who are classic liberal atheists that are now seeing this sort of rise in their own, popularity and the sales of their books from people that are more centrist Christians. And what is your take on how these two groups, being, classic liberal atheists and now the centric Christians, that seem to be coming together on a political spectrum? And what do you see the future of that being? And do you think there's a danger in it?
I don't think there's a danger in it as long as the Christians are, to use the fancy phrase, epistemologically aware. As long as they know where they're coming from, as long as they know what they believe, why they believe what they believe. Politics makes strange bedfellows, as somebody once said. You end up allying and teaming with people that frankly surprise you. At a light level, I'm a Protestant, but I work with a huge number of Catholics on pro-life issues, just as a small example. And I work with Muslims on other kinds of issues. So I think you find yourself teaming up with people who aren't like you. I'm not that concerned about that. I think there's a lot we can learn as those Christians who are active in our current politics could learn a lot from classic liberals. Obviously, they need to stay away from the atheism. Obviously, they need to realize the rationalism. But there's some wisdom there. I mean, much of our American political system is rooted in some of those thinkers, and it's okay. I mean, Socrates wasn't a believer either. Plato wasn't a believer either. Condorcet and Diderot and Rousseau and all the boys who are the intellectual forefathers of our country, so to speak, and of course, including Scripture. They all added something, and most of them were messes in some way. So we have to learn how to take good ideas, no matter the source, make them our own, and then move forward. So I'm not too concerned about it as long as the Christians know who they are and know in whom they have believed.